So hi everyone, we're back today with the Magnolia Breeze bees, and I'm the Magnolia bee lady. If it'll stick, we'll see. And today is a big day. We're on our way to go pick up a nuke. So let me tell you what a nuke is. A nuke is short for nucleus, and this is a nucleus hive. It is, this particular one is 5 frames, and on these frames are going to be the worker bees. There'll be a queen bee in the nuke. I'm going to be looking at later on when we're transferring the frames into my brood box. I'll be looking at and showing you what should be unhatched bees on the frames, as well as some honey deposits so that the bees can feed themselves and the queen. But what happens is these frames are in a box. It has vents on either side of the box for the bees, and the bees have been growing in this box to create this nucleus hive for transport. Typically, when we do this, from what I've been reading, is you do it in the late afternoons when it's cooler. And then also because this is when the bees stay with the hive because they're not out foraging. So, but we're going to try to get it done. Well, we're picking them up this morning. It's been very overcast, so it's not that hot. So the bees can stay in the hive, in the nucleus box, at the hive location for several hours today. And then later on this afternoon, I will transfer the frames from the nuke box into my brood box. Once I do that, then I will close up the brood box and not put the superflow on top for at least a week or two to make sure that the bees are starting to get used to the brood box and where they're living, and they're starting to build out to the extra frames. I will go over more of that on the second part of the series, which is where I'm going to be showing you our moving the frames into their new home. And that will be the second part of this series. The first part, of course, is going to pick up the bees. Once we get there, I'm going to make sure it's okay to video, and you'll be able to see where we're at, where we're picking it up, and everything like that. I source these bees locally. I'm picking them up in Grand Bay, Alabama, so they're sourced locally, so they're local to the area. And by a man that I met through another beekeeping and honey maker here in town. Now, I'm wearing light colored clothing because in my research, I have found that bees do not like dark colored clothing. The worst colors to wear around bees are black or dark blue. The bees think that something that's big and dark is like a bear coming at them, so they get aggressive and they get stressed out. So we don't want to stress out these bees any more than it's going to be stressed out moving from their home and traveling in a box. So I'm wearing white light clothing. Just in case, I've also bought my beekeeping suit in case I need it. The beekeeper did tell me that because it's been raining so much yesterday, that the bees might be a little bit aggressive today when we go to move them. So I brought the beekeeping suit just in case I needed it. Typically, honeybees do not get aggressive unless they're feeling threatened, which is why a lot of times around the honeybees, a lot of people get to where they don't even wear the suits anymore, because if they're not being threatened, they just leave you alone and they don't sting or anything like that. Let's see, what else can I tell you about the journey? My driver today is James Cooper. He's driving us while we go down there. That's why I keep looking up and looking to see where we're at. But anyway, so that's part 1 of the series. Is picking up the nuke. We're going to pause the video now, and when we get there, I will come back on and show you what we're doing. All right. Hi everyone. So when we got to pick up got to the place to pick up the nuke, it was a private individual's house, and the person we were buying the nuke from was leasing land there for all of his hives. He actually has 2 locations where he has his hives, and so I wasn't able to film. Basically, we're back at the house now, and I'm going to switch and this is our setup. So I want to go over where we're at. This is the back part of our property. Our driveway is way over there. It's about midway on our property. We have it here because we have our fruit trees over there, and then it's just completely, basically surrounded by woods for the bees to forage in. And of course, my rose, I've got hydrangeas up here that'll be blooming soon. Rose bushes around the front. On the other side of the house, there's wildflowers that are growing. And I have my garden over there with the grapes and some more roses and raspberries and things like that. So there's going to be plenty of things that the bees can get to. Also, bees go for quite some distance to forage. My neighbors around me all have flower gardens as well, and roses and things like that. So there's plenty of things right around here that they're going to be able to forage for. We decided to put it this far back, and pulls over there, because a couple of things. First of all, there's some shade here. Although you see I've got an umbrella up, that's because it's been raining, and it may be raining on later today, and I want to make sure that my nuke box doesn't get too wet for me to work with. But it's got some shade here, so it's not going to be out in the sun all the time. But it's also open as well. And so it's easier for me to get to when doing my inspections and harvesting my honey. So we put down pavers, and you see that the box is off to the side. The reason for this is simple. When I get the nuke box out, I'm going to set it on the pavers. The pavers are where the hive is going to be once we move the bees into it. But I want the bees to get orientated to the spot before I transfer them. So therefore, we've moved the hive off of the spot and left it open for the nuke box to go there. The hive has already been leveled. It is leveled at a 30-degree angle from the front, which is back over here. This is where the bees will enter the hive. And you can see that we've put up a rain guard here. This can be lowered or higher depending on the weather. We have an entrance reducer here, so there's only a little space for the bees to go up and not enough space for beetles and wasps to get in there. That'll help out to keep our hive safe from predators. And then this side of the hive is where, when we put the flow box on, it'll be sitting up one more level, where we will be doing our harvesting from. If you notice, our harvesting is from the opposite side from where the bees will enter. That's so that we will not disturb the bees when we do our harvesting. So, in just a few minutes, I'm going to put my suit on because the bees are in the back of the truck. In the back. And because we had to drive about 30 minutes to get home, I'm not sure how many, I'm not sure whether or not the box fell over or anything like that. Plus, there were some loose bees when we closed the truck up, and I don't know if they're angry or not. So, Jim's going to be out here in a minute. I'm going to put my bee suit on, and we're going to get that nuke sitting out here. Once we get it out here sitting, it's going to sit for a minimum of an hour, maybe 2. And although I said earlier that you wait and try to do it in the evening, because of the weather and because it's so cool, I may go ahead and do it after about 2 hours if the weather holds off. I would like to get the bees in their homes before it rains, so they can start getting used to it. I'm going to pause right now and go get ready. Okay guys, so James has got the camera now. I've got the suit in the back of the truck because I didn't know if I might need it when we were picking up the bees. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on here. We can see what this ordeal is going to be like. Yay, together. So Looks like it unzips from the bottom. That's neat. And we've got to unzip the hood before we can go all the way up. Nope, I could have gone the other way. All right then. And we'll go the other way. All right. Oops, got it stuck a little. Oh, I hate when that happens. There we go. Right. It's got these little hooks on them, so I guess I'm taking my shoes off. Now, one thing I did learn preparing for this was that, if you want to come this way a little bit, was that you have to wash your suit after you use it. Because you're going to get leaves all that. No. Because the bee stress pheromones from the bees will get on the suit. And when you go back out, you don't want... That was a biting bug. That did not go that way. Yes, it does go that way. You don't want the bee stress pheromones to be there when you go back out. I'm trying to figure this out. It's kind of weird. Okay. We'll go ahead and put this shoe back on. There we go. Let's do this one. Next time I do this, we're doing it in the house. So I'm not stepping in dirty leaves. As I mentioned earlier, bees don't like dark clothing, and that's why all beekeeping suits are white or this light cream color. You may remember when I was unpacking, I mentioned that I got an extra large suit. Whoops. So that Jim could wear it sometimes too. All right, just noticed something. It's got a little thing. I guess this is to keep it in place when I go to put the gloves on. I'm gonna go ahead and do my lid first. Let's see. And this side. Make sure all openings are closed. And I'm in. Okay. So now I'm going to put the gloves on. How I look, hun? I'm going to pull this down because it's hitting my nose. Jim has chosen to stay far back away from me when I open the back of the truck. I think he's a little concerned about his driving as well. We have a bird that's very upset with us right now. Must have a nest somewhere. Okay, let's go open and get our newt box. I'm seeing things flying around back here. Oh yes, good thing we did that. James, you want to come over here?
Not really.
So people can see. All right, guys, these are new box. You can see the bees that are here. They're flying around the nuke box. I'm going to very slowly pull it out. Whoop. And slowly leave the back of the truck open so the bees can follow me. And we're going to take the nuke box and put it over in its new location. You'll see that there's holes all in this nuke box. That's for ventilation purposes. So far, so good. And I'm going to put that right here at their new home. Now, what you're going to see is, James, if you can show them down here. Right here are ventilation holes. That's on either side. That's so that there's ventilation so that they can do that. Now we're going to leave these here for a while. Let them get acclimated to their spot. You can see the bees are trying to get in there to their queen. And we're going to make sure they know where their home is. Now let's go back over here to the truck. I want to make sure all the bees are out of it before we close it up. Don't want any surprises for Jim. I'm hoping that they follow this over. Yes, we are bee free. No bees, so as we walked over with the box, the bees went with us. They're kind of cool that way. So we're going to close this up and we're going to stop the video here. This is the Magnolia Bee Lady, and next time you see me, we're going to transfer those nukes, the frames, into their new home in our hive. All right, see you later.